place that you're going to be taken care of, that everything that you want to happen is going to happen. You know, there's lots of different reasons why people do that. So there was a survey at the University of Washington Medical Center where they asked people what the most stressful events of their lives were. These were the scenarios or the events that most people find very stressful. They asked them to rank these stressors on a scale of most stressful to least stressful. The outcome, obviously, is so the outcome came to this here. So the result is number 1 would be the death of a spouse or a partner. Number 2, divorce. Obviously, that's a very hard thing to go through. And then number 3, the death of a loved one. So, those things are really hard to deal with in life. And it's hard when you're not prepared. You can't even when they told me my dad was going to pass, they gave me literally a play-by-play of everything that was going to happen. The specific kind of stroke he had always plays out in a specific way, and they were able to tell me what was going to happen next. And every time they said, this is what's going to happen, it actually happened. And then they finally came and they said, in the next 18 hours, he will pass. And he did, which was crazy. And you think, like, with all of those play-by-plays, you would be prepared for this, right? And you're just not. And especially because I didn't have any other plans in place, I didn't know anything else that he may have wanted, that made it more difficult. Can you hear better? Is it better back there? Okay. So these are the questions, right? These are the questions that most people ask, most family members ask. So if something happens, do you know who to call? Do you know how your loved one wants to be remembered? Where do you go? What do you do? Having the pre-plans in place will really help kind of guide you in that direction. So what this is saying here is, we plan for important life events, weddings, college education, and retirement. We insure ourselves against things that might happen, like a car crash or an injury or a medical emergency, things like that. And so, the question is, why would it not make sense to do the same thing for something that we know is going to happen? We know that our time will come. And, to make ourselves as prepared as possible is the best way to go about that for a lot of reasons. So, again, pre-planning really helps protect. It protects you. It protects your loved ones. It really, really helps having to avoid making those hard decisions. Sometimes we see families that come in that don't even know if their mom would have wanted to have a funeral service, and because nothing was done or said. And if there was a pre-plan in place or something like that, then the family would have a little bit more guidance in which direction to go. Also, every 7 to 10 years, whatever funeral costs are today will be doubled that. So people that are paying $10,000 or so for a funeral service now in 7 to 10 years are going to pay almost $20,000 for that same thing. But when you set your plans in place, the sooner you do it, the lower the prices will be. So we always say the cost is as low as it's ever going to be today. And, doing all of those things and getting that in place now, there's lots and lots of benefits for that. So the way we set it up is we have 4 different steps. So there's 4 different steps to getting your pre-planning done. Reflect, record, secure, and share. So the first one is to about what it is that you want. They just sit and think, because that's kind of something that I guess not a lot of people even want to think about ever. But that is part of the process, is kind of sitting down and just thinking about, do I want to do cremation? Do I want to do full burial? Where would I like to be placed or not be placed? Or, how would I want my service to look? Or what would I want to even be dressed in? Different things that, you want to think about. A lot of people think as well that if someone does cremation, that there's not a lot of memorialization or customization that can be done with something like that, when cremation actually has the most options, I would say. A lot of people don't know that you can place cremated remains below ground. It does save people money to do something like that too, because a lot of people would like to be below ground, but they feel like you can only do, is it not working? Oh, okay. So, people think that you can only do below ground burial if the full body is there, but you can actually do cremation below ground and still have all the same benefits, but cremation is a much lower cost final arrangement. So, lots of different options. We also have a ton of different options for you guys, which I think is pretty cool. So I'm going to kind of show them to you right now. So the first one is what's called our memorial space flight. I don't know if anybody has any interest, but there is a portion of cremated remains that are sent out into space. You can send it to the atmosphere and then come back. You can send it into Earth's orbit. You can be placed on the moon, or you can just be sent into infinity. So that is an option. The family can witness that. They take just a small portion, so it's not all of you that goes away, but if anybody has an interest in space or anything like that, that's an option that we have. The other option we also have is what's called our Neptune Reef. So our Neptune Reef is essentially an underwater cemetery. We do placements down there. You get a little, plaque with your name on it, all of that stuff. It actually is helping the coral reef over in Florida. But there's placements down there. You can scuba dive down there to visit your loved ones if you wanted to. So if there's anybody that is like really into water stuff or fish or something like that, that's also an option. For cremation, yes. Maybe they'll have other options later. I don't know. And you can go down there and visit, and they have they have a whole setup thing, and they're adding more features to it and stuff. So it says when Neptune Memorial Reef is completed, it'll cover 16 acres, have room for 250,000 placements, 5,000 5-ton columns, and we'll be able to see it from space. The other thing that we have, one of the other things that we just rolled out, which is something that's been going on for a while, but we just kind of brought it into our network, is what's called natural organic reduction. So it's actually pretty cool. Natural organic reduction is the process of turning someone back into the earth soil. You can use it for anything, really. Anything that you would use regular not fertilizer, but like fertilizer for. This is what they look like. We actually got to go and take a tour of the facility, and it's beautiful. It's clean, it's open. So this little pod here is where the family, where your loved one or you will go into. It takes about 60 to 90 days, but you come out just literally looking like mulch. And you can use it in the garden, you can use it anywhere you want. This company also has a conservation up in the mountains that they're using to kind of rebuild and continue to provide resources for keeping this going. So when you go, if you choose this option, you're put in there with other elements from the earth, and that's what kind of helps reduce your body down. And so it kind of just, it's like this cycle. But yeah. Yeah, absolutely. You do all the same stuff. Yep. Yep. You do all the same stuff that you would do if you were, kind of feeding your plants or, something like that. We actually had a family who just did this, one of our first families who just did this, and their mom had a huge garden in her backyard. And so they're using her to keep the garden going, and they were really happy about it. They were very, very happy about being able to do that and keeping that going for her in her memory. The other option, another one. Did you have a question about it? Go ahead. It's okay. It's okay. Yes. No, yeah, you don't have to use it right away. So it comes in probably about 5 to 6, depending on the size of the person, like kind of jars, like not jars like this, but like tubes like this size. And yeah, you treat it just like any other like soil that you would get at the store for your plants. Yeah, our bodies are actually made up of a lot of things that are actually pretty good for the earth. So yeah, yeah, exactly. So which brings me to my next one, which is something that I think maybe people have heard of or maybe not. It's called aquamation. It's the same thing as cremation, but with water instead of fire. So the water actually, it's kind of a mixture between the organic reduction and a cremation. So they use water with an alkaline, a specific alkaline alkalinity to it. And then after a few hours, the body is broken down and it turns into water. And you actually get cremated remains back because it doesn't break down the bone. But you will get cremated remains back, and the rest of it is all just treated. Water is treated, and it can be used again for plants or something like that or something else, because there's, again, a lot of things that we actually can contribute to back to the earth. So it doesn't make anything toxic. It actually has like 1/4 of the carbon footprint that cremation does. So it's pretty good. This is something we're coming out with eventually. The next thing that we're coming out with eventually is turning cremated remains into diamonds. So they can make, different colors and things like that, but, portions of the cremated remains can be turned into diamonds, which make really nice little keepsakes and things like that for the family or, however you want to be. I don't know how much the pricing is at the moment. I don't know. But I'm definitely curious to see all the details of that one. So just diamonds. I think they can. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's just diamonds. But what I understand is that they can make them different colors. So something like that. Yeah. So these are a couple things. These are a couple options that we have. The first few of them are available right now. The other ones, are going to take some time, but we are going to get them in the next few months. So step 2 in part of the pre-planning process is going to be what we call record. So what you'll do is you'll sit down with someone like me, hopefully, and we have what's called our personal planning guides. So our personal planning guides here have basically everything you need in it to record your final wishes, record the things that you want your family to know. It actually has good information for things that they need to know. The very first page inside is 90% of what a funeral director is going to ask your family in order to be able to issue a death certificate. A lot of people don't know where your mom was born or what her maiden last name was. And so that's where this comes in, and you can fill that information in so that when the family comes in, they can say, this is what she wrote, this is what's in there, go for it. And it'll help the funeral director tremendously. We also have, do we have any veterans? Thank you. We have one as well for, are you aware of your benefits as a veteran? Okay, so we have the same kind of planning guide, but it's for our veterans. It also has a lot of forms and stuff in here that are going to really help give you those benefits, help the family with those benefits as well. So as long as you know where your discharge paperwork is, then the rest of it comes pretty easy. Yeah. hmm Either one is fine. Either one would be just fine as long as we can get that information and it can be verified through the VA. Then we're fine. Yeah, either one is okay. Usually we just print it out anyway, just to have a copy. But if you send it to us digitally or if it's provided digitally, that's okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You never know. Yeah, you never know. You never know. So yeah, that's great. I would say, keep your digital and your original copy. So, it provides those benefits for you for the National Cemetery if you choose. There's also other benefits that you have for if you do placement in a non-national cemetery, something like that. So there's lots and lots of different options. So there. Oh yes, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. So with that, if you're placed in a cemetery that's not a national cemetery, then there is a bronze marker that the family will receive one of. So every decedent, every person will receive one of these things. And it's a bronze marker that will have your name on it, your years of life, your branch of service. It's very limited, but it is a free bronze marker, which is not cheap. So they'll provide that for you. Just fill that part out. If you're placed with a regular headstone, there's also a medallion that that they'll provide you as well. It looks like a folded flag with the branch of service listed underneath. But those things are things that are provided for our veterans and things like that. We also personally provide a specific discount. So a lot of the times we are obligated to give the discounts that our insurance company requires us to give when people are doing their funeral arrangements for the future. But our veterans actually get a higher discount or the same discount regardless of what the insurance company is requiring us to do. So what I mean by that is typically the discount is 5%, 5 to 7% off of your prearranged funeral. But our veterans will always get 10, no matter what. And sometimes other people will get 10% as well, but most of the time it's 5 to 7%, but our veterans will always get that discount. They always get the discount 10% for the cemetery as well if you choose cemetery burial. Yeah. hmm hmm Immediate family will, yes. Immediate family we will do that for. Um, like your cousin or something probably wouldn't get that, but immediate family, yes. Yes, absolutely, yes. And we also, a lot of people also aren't really sure how to go about the placement in a national cemetery or anything like that, and our funeral directors know all about that. We're all very well versed in how to take care of that. So all you would have to do is let us know that that's what your wish is, and we will make it happen. We do it all the time, so the family doesn't have to stress about making sure that that's where you go. Any other questions about that? No? Okay. Okay. So the next thing to do is secure, right? So secure obviously is the most tedious part, I imagine, but it's getting your funeral plans actually paid for. All you need to do, all we require is that you put a down payment toward whatever total it is that your plan comes to. You make a monthly payment. We can split that, and interest free at the moment is interest free for 5 years. Sometimes, depending on what the economy is doing, they make us charge interest, and they don't give you as long a term to make payments on. But funeral arrangements, there's never any interest on, but cemetery arrangements, that's where the interest kind of fluctuates and if it happens or not. But your funeral arrangements, you can pay over time, so you don't have to worry about dropping a whole bunch of money at once. You can really make those arrangements special for yourself and special for your family, just to get everything in place. So we have different funding options. We don't do any credit checks or anything like that. We just take your down payment and split the remaining balance over that payment term, whatever that term is that you choose. And we also have for our funeral arrangements, when I was talking about the insurance company, we also have the option to insure your funeral policies. So if you have a funeral policy and you want to get it insured, which is what we always suggest. It kind of acts like a life insurance policy. So you put a certain amount of money in, it builds interest over time. Depending on how long that policy sits, the family may actually get some money back. But what it does is it helps build interest over time to help compensate for inflation. And so if your services, when the price goes up for your goods and services, that's automatically going to be covered by the family. And if something happens to you before that time before you've paid that off, the insurance company, there's a high likelihood that the insurance company will just pay off that remaining balance for the family, so they don't have to worry about doing that. There's a couple of details in there that kind of go along with that, but the insurance company really provides an additional layer of security for you guys. And then the last one is to share it. Share the information, share the things that you guys have. When you put your plans in place, let your family know, this is what I did. I did my pre-planning. It's going to be here in this safe, or, all the documents, or wherever it is that it's going to be. Let them know that you've done this. Encourage them to do the same thing, but also just let them know where everything is at, so that when the time comes, they don't have to worry. They just know where to go and then who to call. And that's it. So, what to look for in a provider. So what we do here, when you're choosing your services, when you're choosing your funeral home, you have the right to choose any funeral home and or cemetery or any combination of that. So you can choose whatever you like. The thing that I really like about us, not biased, but the thing that I really like about us is I always call it monitored, but we are monitored by J.D. Power. So we have a 100% satisfaction guarantee. If there is something that is not to your liking, let us know and we will fix it. However, we can fix it for you. We also offer what's called away from home protection. And that away from home protection is if you ever take a vacation more than 75 miles away from your house, and something happens to you, we make the arrangements, do the prep work, and pay all of the expenses to bring you home. So we have a lot of people who travel across the state, across the country, across the world. And it can cost tens of thousands of dollars to bring someone home. But we offer a program that helps take that burden off of people. So what you'll do is the family just calls this 1-800 number. We jump into action. We take over. And all you guys have to do is worry about getting yourselves home, or the family has to worry about getting themselves home. And we will take care of you or your loved one. We also have bereavement travel and grief support. So the bereavement travel, we have a company that helps people who may be traveling from farther away, who may not be familiar with this area. We have people who are familiar who can set up these arrangements for them. They would have to pay for it, but at least they'll be able to say, like, this is the hotel that's closest. This is the flight that's going to get you there, and all of that stuff. So the family doesn't have to set those arrangements up. We also have our compassion care line, which is basically a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week helpline. So if anyone has, there's licensed therapists and counselors that are on call all the time, for 1 year after someone has passed. So your family has that support at any moment that they may need it, for up to 1 year after someone's passing. And these are just other facts about us that make us pretty awesome, I think. So we have, there's quite a lot of us. We are the leading brand in the funeral industry. We have a couple thousand locations all across North America. We have, I think a few in Canada as well, and things like that. So, a lot of us live here and do the same things that you guys do, and we just want to help. So, and if there's any way that we can do that, then that's what we're here for. So this advanced planning worksheet, I'm going to ask you guys to take with you, or fill out if you can now, and then hand it back to me. If you need more time, that's totally fine. But I think you guys have my information. Right. Okay. I have my business cards, so I'll give you guys business cards too. But if you need, if there's anything that you need, this helps. This kind of just at least helps give you an idea of what to consider when you're considering your pre-arrangements or something like that for the future. It just gives you an idea of where to go. I don't know if I have about 20 of each, so I can bring more by if we need more than that, but I'll leave what I have for you. And that's it. That's all I got. Do you guys have questions? I know I just talked at you for so long right now, so I'm sorry about that. Mm-hmm. So we do have a lot of different options for that. So cemetery placement at our it's not usual. It's not as common to have a funeral home and cemetery in one place. Most people will have to go one place for the funeral and another place for the cemetery, but we happen to be a combo. It's called a combo. So we're 2 in 1. We have a cemetery on site with our funeral home. We have a lot of different options for above ground and below ground placement, for cremation, for full burial, all kinds of different things. The best thing really to do is just to come in and take a tour of the cemetery, even on your own, or call me and I'll meet you. I can show you around at the different options that we have, but we have the options to do everything in our facility all at the same time. It does make it a lot easier for the families, so they don't have to run from one place to another, and they just go one place and everything is just done right there. But our prices kind of range a little bit. So they go from, for cremation, they start around the 4,000s, and they can go up to 400,000. Same thing with our full burial spaces. They start around, for everything, they start around 13,000, and they go up to about 400. Other places have higher prices. Other places have lower prices. You just kind of have to go to the place that feels right for you. The thing that I usually tell people is, this is it, right? So we don't get to redo this. We don't get to do it over again. It just, these plans are it. So when you're making these plans, go to the places and do the things that are best for you. Even if we aren't the lowest cost, we are considered the lowest risk, which means you are less, things are less likely to go wrong, because we take so much extra care and so many extra steps in making sure that you're served well, that you're cared for the way that you deserve to be cared for, and your family is taken care of as well. But yes, so we do have, do you have any other questions about the cemetery that we have? Yeah. Mm-hmm. It wouldn't be put into your plan. It can be put into your planning, but we would leave it out of your pre-plan with us. So basically what we would do is we would pre-plan for everything that you wanted without a casket. And then you would put into your personal planning guide or something like that where you wanted your family to order that casket from. If you wanted it to be from Costco, absolutely. Then you just put that in there. They do. They really do. And you know what? Amazon has really nice ones too. They're really nice. Yeah, they really do. They do everything. They do. A lot of people like to get their urns from Amazon too because they have a lot of different options and things like that. So, there's a lot of flexibility in those things. There are some things that are non-negotiables, but that kind of comes no matter what funeral home or anything that you choose. There are some things that are required that we have to choose. But the casket, the urn, different things like that, those are all things that you have full rights to choose anywhere else that you would like to do that. Ooh, I'm not quite sure how long the company's been around. I know that my particular funeral home and cemetery, our cemetery has been around since like 1900. We bought it in the 1980s, but we've been around for quite a while. I'd have to, that's a really good question. I would have to figure out when the company started. I don't really remember that. But I know that our particular cemetery and funeral home has been around. We took over that one that was there in the 1980s. So we've been at our location for a while. Yeah, right where Jimi Hendrix is buried. Everybody loves that guy over there. I know, it's gorgeous. Oh, cool. Oh, good. Is it easier? Yeah. 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 So well, we need to get, we always ask the family, even if there's just a 0.5% of a chance that someone may want to do something, give us permission to take the fingerprints as soon as possible. The longer we wait or after the burial, we can't do that. But what we do is we take those fingerprints for free and we will provide you guys with the prints, and we also keep prints on file. I think we keep them indefinitely at this point. At some point, all of our files get archived. After a certain number of years, they get archived, but we do still have documentation of them. And then a lot of things are going digital, so we'll have those too. But we provide you guys with the fingerprints in case you choose to do something, and then we also keep a copy in case you need it, in case you lose it. Any other questions? 1910. Perfect. I have to remember that for next time too. So the military only does that now if the ranking qualifies. So if the ranking qualifies for that, then yes, they do that. They will always do honors. They will always do honors no matter what if you have the documentation. We also, some people can't find the documentation, so we kind of do our own honors a little bit. It's not official, but we still like to honor the service of our veterans. But yeah, so the military only does that if the ranking is high enough. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Talk to me all day. It's okay. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Mhm. Oh my gosh. Sure. Sure. Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of hard to get in there at this point. Yeah. Unfortunately not. The only thing that I've ever that I understood from that is that the spouses will have that option. Only spouses, not children, unfortunately. But like what we were talking about earlier with the prearranging and things like that, we are able to honor, their service and give you the discount for pre-planning. But unfortunately, yeah, the VA doesn't do much else. You never know. You can always ask. You're not in a worse off place than you were before you asked. So that's the best part of it. Any other questions or anything? No? Thank you guys so much for your time. I really appreciate you guys listening to me just jabber and jabber on. So yeah, I would love to. Yes, I would love to. Well, thank you. Thank you again. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.